What are we looking forward to for next season with the Vegas Golden Knights? Myself and Chris will discuss that on the Chris and Chris edition of Locked On Vegas Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. It's the Chris and Chris edition of Locked On Vegas Golden Knights. Just a reminder, we'll be doing this about every other Saturday as we're going to be in our off-season schedule. Myself and Tony will still be going Monday through Friday, anywhere you catch your podcast, and on YouTube. That'll be until about July. But myself and Chris will do this every other Saturday, unless there's some breaking news or something important happens. Chris, what do you think? Yep. Good start, buddy. Good start. All right, so two topics today. First, we're going to talk about what we are looking forward to next season with the Vegas Golden Knights, and then Chris is going to brag about how he called the Golden Knights, or excuse me, not the Golden Knights, they're out. The Edmonton Oilers winning the Stanley Cup back on November the 25th. We'll have that video, and Chris will rock that segment in a little bit. So let's start off with items we're looking forward to next season for the Vegas Golden Knights. I'll start this off, Chris. Mark Stone. That spleen injury unfortunately sidelined his season for the last few months. Stone was okay in the playoffs, but you could tell he wasn't himself. Didn't have his legs under him, possibly still healing. Who knows what it was, but Mark Stone's back injuries seem to be behind him. That's a bad pun as it's his back, but his back injuries seem to be a thing of the past. So I think a full season of the captain are what the Golden Knights need. So that's what I'm looking forward to, number one. Chris, what are you looking forward to next season with the Vegas Golden Knights?
I'm just curious of what the goaltender is going to be like. Ooh. Will Hill and LT be the starting lineup?
Yeah, no, that's really good, Chris. And I mean, I did put an article out for I'm into so many media things lately for Inside the Rink, and I did talk about, does Kelly McCrimmon have something brewing that no one sees coming as far as a trade? And I did mention the possibility, it's unlikely, but the possibility of Logan Thompson getting traded. Logan Thompson's last year under contract with the Vegas Golden Knights, only a $760,000 cap hit. There are a lot of teams that would love to have Logan Thompson, and I don't think, Christopher, that Logan Thompson or Aiden Hill are in the long-term plans for the Golden Knights. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you, buddy. I am curious about that. What do you think, Chris? Like, give me a prediction about the goalies next year. Like something, anything. Something you think about the goalies next year?
I mean, I just can't decide which one might be traded. I mean, both were so good in the Dallas series.
Yes,
both had some excellent saves. So I bet at least one is going to get traded, but I'm not sure which one.
So do you think, Christopher, then we'll expand on that because it's actually a really good topic here. Do you think that, let's just, again, we're assuming, I have no idea, but I don't think Aiden Hill gets traded. His contract prohibits getting the right return, I think, for what he makes. Logan Thompson would bring a dynamite return for the Golden Knights. Do you think that if the Golden Knights were to do something with Logan Thompson, would they bring in like a veteran goalie who's experienced, or do you think it's Yuri Patera to be the backup?
I
don't like the idea of Yuri Patera being the backup. I don't know. I think you agree with me on that.
Yeah.
So that's some interesting stuff. We can dive into that maybe a little deeper in another episode. My next item that I'm excited about, me and Chris each have 3 items that we're excited about, by the way. My next item I'm going to roll with, I want to see who becomes the household name of the following 3 players: Pavel Dorofeev, Brendan Brisson, and Caden Korczak. A case can be made, especially as we get closer and closer to having an idea of what may or may not happen with Jonathan Marchessault. There's going to be some openings in the forwards, among the forwards for the Golden Knights. Pavel Dorofeev, of course, would have the inside line as he played, I think, 40, 45, 50 games last season. Had some injury issues, was a healthy scratch sometimes. Brendan Brisson, we got a taste of what he could do. He did get a couple goals, and it really seems like Brendan Brisson is going to make it hard for Coach Cassidy to keep him out of the lineup. And then Caden Korczak, Jonathan Marchessault possibly ties in, where if Jonathan Marchessault gets an extension, they could move on from a defenseman, maybe Shea Theodore, maybe Braden McNabb. And then that's where things open up for Caden Korczak. Of course, Alec Martinez, we don't know what's happening either. So this could be a good opportunity for Caden Korczak. So Dorofeev, Brisson, Korczak, which one or which ones possibly become a household name is something that I'm excited for. What's your next item, little man, that you're excited for?
Well, one, is Martinez contract up?
Yes, Alec Martinez is an unrestricted free agent, and his cap hit, I believe, was $5.2 million. Just wrapped up a 3 or 4 year deal, I want to say. I could be off on that. The Golden Knights, it's very cost prohibitive to pay what fair market value would be for Alec Martinez. He's not going to make $5 million per season on his next contract, but even if he was willing to take $2 million, I don't think the Golden Knights could find a path to extending him. I think the likely scenario is Alec Martinez retires, but we really don't know as nothing's been announced yet.
What new players will we get from the draft?
The draft is exciting. I like that idea. And I'm glad at the Sphere. There you go, which you want to go to. I know. No, that's actually a great topic, Chris, and I'm very curious to see how that plays out. I mean, the Golden Knights, so there's a little bit of news, actually, Chris. I had a note I wanted to talk about, so you actually brought me into it. So there was a trade made between the New York Islanders and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Chicago Blackhawks were picking 20th. They have a higher pick, too, but they were picking 20th. The New York Islanders were picking 18th. They basically swapped those picks. They swapped some later round picks, too, but now the Chicago Blackhawks moved from 20th to 18th. The Islanders moved from 18th to 20th. Chris, why do you think I'm bringing this up? Who do you think has the 19th pick overall? Vegas. Exactly. So why did the Blackhawks make a small trade just to move up a couple spots in the draft? It could just simply be they wanted to increase their draft capital for later in the draft, or most likely there's someone they see at 18 and they're concerned that the Islanders or the New York or the Chicago Blackhawks were concerned the Vegas Golden Knights or the New York Islanders would take that player. So the Blackhawks make a small trade to go above the Golden Knights. I believe the Blues, the Capitals, and I forgot the other team are picking directly above the New York Islanders. So I'll be curious to see now if I don't know if I said Capitals in there, but point being is those are three of the teams that are picking right above now where the Blackhawks are and above the Golden Knights. So will the Golden Knights maybe make a trade to elevate ahead of the Chicago Blackhawks? So yeah, the draft is always an interesting time. And what's cool is like seeing players develop down the road who were like 5th and 6th and 7th round picks and things like that. The first few picks usually will have a path to the NHL. A lot of the first rounders might play, but it's a long process, right? It's a long process. We see these guys play a lot of games down with the Silver Knights, and hopefully they get their chance. So, all right, my last topic is a simple one that is very broad, and it's change. I'm looking forward to change. In my personal life, I don't fear change. In my enjoyment of recreationally enjoying professional sports, the Golden Knights and the NHL, I don't mind change. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't concern me. We're going to see a Golden Knights team that has a lot of changes, starting from the possibility of a Jonathan Marchessault no longer being with the team. I'm not saying I'm happy Marchessault could be gone, but I welcome watching someone else step up. I welcome the opportunity that Pavel Dorofeev, Brendan Brisson, Brett Howden, if the Golden Knights can bring back Mike Amadio, will Keegan Kolesar take a step forward and have a chance to do something more? Will Nicholas Waugh get an extended role in the lineup? Things like that. And then I'll do a really quick subtopic, and I'll let Chris run with the last one. Looking forward just to a full season of Tomas Hertl and Noah Hannafin, just to kind of see what they're really going to bring to the Golden Knights after seeing a full training camp and having
What
him
about
back,
Mantha?
presumably healthy. Mantha is an unrestricted free agent, little man. I don't think he has a path to coming back to the Golden Knights, but until it's July 1st or he gets traded or something else is announced, you never know with Kelly McCrimmon what's going to happen. So, Chris, your last thing that people really want to know, what are you most what else are you excited about for next season with the Vegas Golden Knights?
Will the dragon be there, or will the castle be there? Will there be fire, or will there not be fire?
So quick shout out to Tyler and all the rest of the in-game entertainment team for the fun and creativity that they do bring to Vegas Golden Knights hockey. We did see, Chris, when we were at Paint the Ice a couple of weeks ago, the Dragon is still up there. You couldn't see the castle set up because they had other events or something going on. But you could see where it was elevated if you peeked up and kind of around that little corner back there around the wall, that the Dragon is still there after the season. So will the Dragon return? I mean, I don't know, buddy. I kind of think the Dragon, I mean, listen, the Dragon looks cool. Let's not, I'm not gonna dog on the Dragon yet, but the Dragon looks cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks really cool. And if the Dragon breathes fire next year, that would certainly be an upgrade. But I don't know, little man. I don't know. But I hope, I mean, the castle will be back. I think the Dragon will be back. Maybe we'll get Tyler on the show. He can explain one of these days to us. All right, little man, before we go on to you bragging in the next segment, anything else you want to touch base on that you're excited for next season?
The Oilers better get the 32nd pick in the draft.
And why would the Oilers get the 32nd pick in the draft? What's the only way that could possibly happen?
Roll the tape.
About 7 months from now, this video will have 50,000 views. So there you go, buddy. All right,
Get me
Oilers.
media tickets.
Get you media tickets. Oilers versus Bruins Stanley Cup final. Let her rip, buddy. Who is winning the 2024 Stanley Cup final?
My mind changed about the Bruins. I think the Oilers are going to win it. Wow, my faith has grown.
Right? Amazing what happens in 5 short months, buddy. And yeah, I think your hair was a little longer then too. Your flow was a little better than. I don't think you brushed your hair this morning. So the tape you guys just watched, and it's not called tape. No one calls it a tape anymore. The video y'all just watched was from November, actually 6 months ago to the day, November the 25th. That was when me and Chris were talking about who we thought would win the Stanley Cup. Of course, I picked the Golden Knights. My bracket was Vegas over Florida. Chris's bracket was Edmonton over Boston. And Chris, I just got to ask you.
I changed it to Toronto.
You change? Okay, yeah, you change a lot of things. But I guess my question for you, little buddy, is where did you get a British accent from? Did you watch Peppa the Pig or something right before we watched the show? Accent. I don't know, man. You had like some weird, funky British accent going right there. I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah, I do that. I do that sometimes when I'm about to shock people. Yeah,
well, you definitely shocked us, and that the part that you didn't see in that segment was when I went on to say, listen, if the Oilers are in the playoffs, they're going to be a factor. McDavid, Draisaitl, there's so many keys to that lineup that it's going to be impossible for the Oilers not to be heard from. Did I think this was necessarily going to happen? And that as of 6 months from that tape, yes. The Oilers are just 7 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup, 3 wins away from representing the West in the Stanley Cup final. I didn't see that coming, but I'm not surprised. But my point is, Chris, buddy, you predicted it. What did you see? Why on November 25th did you say you thought the Oilers would win the Stanley Cup?
Because they're just a powerful team every year. And of course, the beginning of the season was for them. Last season, I really think that series should have gone to 7. They literally blew
You're talking about
us.
the Golden Knights Edmonton Oilers series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They blew us apart in game 2, like they did in the first series against LA. Somehow it went to 7 games. In a couple games they blew LA apart, just like they did to Vegas, and I feel like that team does it more than any other team in the NHL, and I want McDavid to win a cup.
I'm with you on McDavid winning cup. So I'm looking away. I'm looking at my computer right now. The Oilers were 19 games into the season. Here's the crazy thing, Chris. So first of all, the Oilers were like 19 games into the season. I think they had 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. They had 13 points in the first 18 games of the season. Here's the crazier thing. So that Friday night, the Oilers, this is the Friday the 24th, before we recorded the podcast, the Capitals lost to the Oilers 5-0. And then the Oilers rattled off a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game winning streak in total. So seven game winning streak right after Chris predicts the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup final. So it's almost like Chris gave the blessing to the Oilers, and boom, here we are right now. So Oilers today, Saturday the 25th, have a 1-0 lead over the Dallas Stars in that series. What do you think? I mean, obviously you're going to say the Oilers are going to win that series. How many games is that series going to go?
Only 5. I think Dallas will be able to pull off game 3 or 4, but I don't think Dallas has that. I think McDavid's going to run this series in, and if we have, and I want Edmonton, New York in the finals, because that'd either be the first team to win the President's, to win the cup from winning the President's Trophy, and then the first team, and then the first Canadian team to win a cup in either one of those two. And I think it'd just be exciting to have those two teams in the cup final to have that record.
Big issue with the Dallas Stars right now is the absence of Roope Hintz. Roope Hintz, similar game as far as William Karlsson goes. Good two-way center, maybe a little bit better as far as offensive scoring goals. Consistently a 30-goal scorer in his young career. He's only been in the NHL for about 5 or 6 seasons right now. So it's going to be really nice to see where Roope Hintz's game develops to. But he's been out since, I think, game 2 or game 3 of the series against the Avalanche with it's an upper body injury that reportedly is something to do with his wrist. You have to assume it's possibly a broken bone or something preventing him from getting out there. Now, remember, William Karlsson was playing with an injury in the series against the Dallas Stars that prevented him from taking the majority of faceoffs. William Karlsson's usually pretty good in the circle, and he had to divert to Brett Howden, who's not nearly as good in the circle as William Karlsson is. So point being is you take Karlsson away, you look what happened. I mean, if Karlsson is healthy against the Dallas Stars...
up, Tony.
If Karlsson is healthy against the Dallas Stars, I think it's a different outcome of that series. I think Karlsson could have swayed one of those games towards the Golden Knights side. Same thing's happening right now. You look at what William Karlsson did against Connor McDavid and the Oilers last year in the playoffs. No one shuts down McDavid, but William Karlsson got as close as you possibly can. Roope Hintz misses game 1 against the Oilers. McDavid gets the overtime game winner. Should have had the overtime game winner in the first overtime. And I think McDavid had an assist in that game before the overtime. So Roope Hintz is a game time decision though tonight, Chris. So there is a possibility that Roope Hintz comes back. I'll go Edmonton in 6. Again, we're making changes on the fly based on where the series is now, not based on where we thought things would happen before the series started. But I'll go Edmonton in 6. All right, let's talk about the East, and let's put a bow on the show today, Chris. Put your foot down, buddy. What are you doing over there? I need to see your knee. Put your foot down. All right. What happened last night in the Rangers-Panthers game for those that weren't watching?
A Rangers goal in double overtime almost reviewed.
Right. So I'm glad you brought that up. So let's talk about a couple things. Great bounce back by the New York Rangers. 2 of the first 3 games of the conference finals both sides, West and East. 2 out of 3 games went to overtime. So much fun, so much parity. But so Rangers get the overtime game winner that was possibly about to be reviewed. But the reason it wasn't reviewed, so I forgot the player, but there was a player that right between the defensive blue line and the red line batted the puck down out of the air. It was really right around where his shoulders are. NHL high stick rule, you can play the puck below your shoulders. If it is a scoring situation, the puck has to be played below the crossbar. That's how high sticking works. There are various different ways the NHL can review goals. There is a rule about a missed stoppage of play. High sticking falls under missed stoppage of play. But the rule is worded as such. A missed stoppage of play can only be reviewed if the play occurred in the offensive zone, so inside the blue line. Of course, this play happened 40 feet behind the blue line, so it was not reviewable. Whether that should or shouldn't be reviewable, people can debate that, but as of right now, that's why it was not reviewable. I think the goal stands either way, but oof, you got a lot of Florida fans that probably weren't happy about that. Chris, what do you think? Good answer. All right. What do you say, Chris, about the remainder of that series? I know you and Tony are on the Rangers. So what do you think is going to happen in the remainder of the Eastern Conference final?
I definitely think that series going to 7. That game 7 is definitely over in overtime, but I just think New York has it. And I think they're going to get a weak breakaway goal just like they did yesterday.
A weak breakaway goal. I like that. Bobrovsky, I don't know. He's a tough egg to crack. I'm still doubling down on my statement. Panthers had a good game 1. They had a decent game 2. Unfortunately, it didn't go the Panthers' way. But Panthers still have home ice right now. So if they can find a way to take care of things at home and come back to Madison Square Garden up 3-1, it's only a matter of time. But for right now, I will stick with Panthers in 6 in that series, and we'll see what happens. All right, I think that's going to do it, Chris. Nice quick one today. What do you think? I said 15 minutes. We went about 20 minutes. That's okay, right? Anything else, Chris, you want to bring up, or are we done?
The Oilers better get the 32nd pick in the draft.
I like it. Listen, I've been very vocal about. I do hope the Oilers actually do win. McDavid, I got a lot of nice McDavid cards I wouldn't mind selling. So if Oilers win the Cup, McDavid wins the Conn Smythe, we're gonna have a couple extra bucks to have some fun with over the summer.
Just give me those cards.
That's going to do it for the Chris and Chris edition of Locked On Vegas Golden Knights. Remember, this is going to be about an every other Saturday occurrence on YouTube exclusively. You can catch myself and Tony Cordasco Monday through Friday, anywhere you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. That'll run that schedule through about July or so. Although I think we're going to take a Memorial Day off. So everyone, please stay safe this weekend. And we appreciate everyone taking the time. Thank you so much for the everydayers who do check us out Monday through Friday. Super thankful to the super everydayers who check out the show on Saturday as well. For myself and little Chris, this is Locked On Vegas Golden Knights.